Dr. E.N.G. Marek Gruszecki. Philosophy of Being. Krakow, 2025. My 85th anniversary. Philosophical essay Does God Exist? Krakow, the 19th of April 2025.
Credibility of the Bible, Part 1. The Bible is a collection of the sacred books of the Jewish and Christian religions. The Bible tells a story that has endured for thousands of years. Many of the principles laid out in the Bible form the basis of the moral values of Western civilization. It all started with a story. Long before anyone learned to read and write, stories about God and his people were passed down from generation to generation. These stories acknowledge the one true God who reigned over all creation. God commanded Moses to free his people from slavery in Egypt and lead them to the Promised Land, where they would become the great nation of Israel. When they arrived 40 years later, the Hebrews had developed their own alphabet. As soon as they settled in the land, they began to write down the stories and laws that they had hitherto passed on from mouth to mouth. The result was the creation of the many texts that make up the Hebrew Bible. Foremost among these are the books of Moses. These were soon recognized as a Jewish law, known by the Hebrew name Torah. Christians took over these books under the name Old Testament. The Christian tradition similarly developed initially only in oral form, and only in time was it written down. Christians began to write down testimonies of Jesus' activities, death, and resurrection. As a result, several books were written, making up the New Testament. Church synods later confirmed the 27 books written as inspired. For the biblical archaeologist, the undoubted written source is the Bible and also other written sources. These help to interpret the find correctly. Thus, written documents and material objects complement each other in the work of the archaeologist. Archaeological finds cannot prove the authenticity of everything contained in the Bible, because the Bible is a book of faith, hence many misunderstandings. Nevertheless, archaeology complements the historical background of the Bible. Many places, people, and events previously criticized and considered to be product of the author's imagination have been recognized as historical thanks to the discoveries of archaeology. There are many methods and ways of dating archaeological finds. Some of these are absolute, but most are relative. Around the year 50, the first writings forming part of the New Testament are written. A fragment of a Roman inscription was found at Debris with the names of Emperor Tiberius and Pontius Pilate. His function of perfecting Judea is evidenced by a Latin inscription with his name carved on a limestone found in Caesarea Superior. Thus, archaeology has confirmed the biblical testimony about this man and his presence in the history of the world. Credibility of the Bible, Part 2. Jesus was probably born at the turn of 540 BC. In the spring of 31, Jesus dies on the cross. There is strong archaeological evidence to support the biblical description of Jesus' last hours on earth. The description of the trial, sentence, and crucifixion given in the Bible has been verified by many scholars with scientific accuracy. There is no doubt that Jesus is an authentic figure. The gospel confirmation of Jesus' divine nature is contained above all in his extraordinary deeds. Tacitus, the Roman historian revered by his contemporaries, mentioned Jesus as a founder of the Christian religion. His works are widely appreciated as a source of information about ancient Rome. About the origins of the world, the Bible clearly states, "Where was it when I founded the earth?" At the creation of the world, all physics was at once conceived, designed, and completed to guarantee the constant expansion of the universe at the right rate. It was a controlled release of mass, energy, space, and time determined by very carefully tuned physical laws and constants. The cyclical winds are described in the Bible. The wind blows towards the south and turns towards the north. The wind continually circles and in its circular course returns. King Solomon wrote this 3,000 years ago. Moi, the chief cartographer of the USA in the 19th century, concluded on this basis that there were well-established wind circuits and definite currents in the ocean. He recognized that if these wind currents and ocean currents could be located and plotted, this information would be of great value to marine navigators. The level of scientific knowledge in the Bible is far above that of the various civilizations contemporary with the ancient Israelites at the time the Bible was written down. Much of this knowledge was later forgotten and rediscovered through rational reflection on the work created by God. Scientists supposedly believing in dark biblical myths later became Nobel Prize winners. Between 1901 and 2000, about 70% of Nobel Prize winners in physics were Christians. Most thinkers have scoffed at the concept of infinity for thousands of years, even though it is referred to in many ways in the Bible. God's understanding is infinite. The soul is of infinite value to him. However, George Cantor, deeply inspired by Christianity, established a logical basis of infinity, which ended up revolutionizing all of mathematics, and his development of set theory allowed him to achieve his goal. Circumcision of a newborn baby on the 8th day is ideal. The newborn prothrombin concentration peaks on the 8th day. It is therefore the safest day to avoid hemorrhaging in a baby. How did Moses know this?
Conclusion. But Jesus, overhearing what was being said, said to the ruler of the synagogue, "Do not be afraid, only believe." Bible, Mark 5 verse 36. It will still be beautiful, despite everything. Just put on comfortable shoes, because you have your whole life to go through. John Paul II. Mathematics in Nature.